Yeah, hope I'm just excited for today's because you have something exciting to show us.
Yeah, even
I think
that's true. Yeah, even I'm really very excited about this ninth UI because I really did not plan Trier actually but it really turned out to be a very great design. I'm really very happy about it, and you guys might have already seen this design, but I'd be explaining. So the reason for me in incorporating all those UI elements. So I hope it turns out exciting. Yeah, Ganesh, I have already seen your UI before, so that was like really good, and it had a lot of your elements. It was like a very your music player was in a very happy state of mind. Like, so I just wanted to incorporate that, but I went for a completely contrast approach. Mine is very dark and all those stuff. So it turned out well. So I'll share my screen and I'll explain about the UI and the artistic pathways that I took. Hope my screen is visible, Ganesh.
yes, it's visible. The Taylor Swift. So
Yeah,
I hear that you're a big fan of Taylor Swift. I mean,
yeah, I'm
good.
really obsessed with Taylor Swift. So I've been a Taylor Swift fan for the past 5 years. So I'm really very obsessed with Taylor Swift.
That's a long time. That's a long time.
It's actually pretty more than that, but 5 years to say is an approximation, I can say. So I just really wanted to create like a tribute to Taylor Swift because I've been a Swiftie for such a long time. So I went to Unsplash and I just found this amazing pic. So this is from the Reputation album. So I just picked this up and immediately it provided a dark theme and it was very what to say, so it had elements of gray, black, and so tints of grayish and black elements in it. So I just tried to embrace them and I wanted to create a UI with it. So it really turned out well and I'm really very happy about this design. It looks good and it is functional as well. So this first page, right, so it is, I just wanted to have a simple UI which has the play pause button, the shuffle button, the replay button, the forward, so the skip to the previous track and all this stuff, show lyrics, so the artist name, the song's name, and all of this stuff. And upfront, you should have the album art, right? So it provides you quite an
More
amazing,
immersive experience,
yeah,
actually.
it provides a more immersive experience to have a full screen art of the album in front of you. So that album art should be a full screen one, so I went for that. And the next page, right, so it is basically the same album art which is which has a darker overlay on it, and I've added a few more UI elements like, so like songs, uh, history of the previous songs that you have listened to, your favorite artists, so the recently played songs, your library, and so this is the same thing. So this is from the previous page, like you have all your granular controls like pause, play, and all those stuff. So here the palette is very simple. So it's mostly black, tints of black, gray, and white. And I've used two fonts here. So these two fonts, they're not very different from one another, but they have some nuances to them. So this is this, yeah. So it is one font that I've used. It is called Shimmer, right? And this is another font which I use. So this font I mostly use in most of my UIs because it is very simple, but it has some depth to it. I think it looks really
Okay.
good. So I just really love this font. It's really uh,
It's similar to the font which I also use, that Myanmar K I showed you, right? That is also what is kind of a little bit similar to this. Even I like that a lot.
yeah,
So
I just really like this font a lot. So I just went with it and it blended along with the UI elements as well. So it is my UI. I'm really happy about this and it's really nice in my opinion. So it's perspective. Yeah. So from my perspective, it really does look good. So the opinions may vary. I hope even you guys really love it. And what's your take on it, Ganesh? So what do you think about it?
I really like the you use that overlay of black color, right? And then you use the everything else. So you get to know even the album art, even you're browsing the new library and everything. That's what I like. I mean, it's good even if you keep it totally blacked out. You don't have to see it, but it's a good thing. I like that. I mean, I find it nice, to have some kind of image in the background, and you're the pro and wallpapers and images in the background. So
Yeah.
obviously, you wouldn't go wrong with it. And I think. you should start try to use only one font. My recommendation in what do you say when you're doing some design, because if you use more than one font, it becomes an issue sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And when you go, when I'm saying even in the development aspect, if you have more than one font, it's hard to change it. Right?
Okay.
You need to have multiple variables and all such things. So I would prefer you to use one font per UI. You can use a different font for different UIs. Not telling you to use the same font for every UI. You have to try out play. I mean, it's better if you use one, but two is great for creativity, but one is better for the overall experience, is what I
What?
would say.
Yeah, it's a very important, and it's a really, yeah, I think it's from what to say, creativity standpoint of view, it is fine. But when you're actually creating a real life app, right? So using a single font would make stuff a lot more easier. So it's what you're saying, and I really take that. It's a very important point to note. So yeah, so but I'm really happy you like my UI, and so you really like this overlay, this black overlay that I put on. So it's really a very interesting to hear from you. And your UI is completely in contrast to this. It's not dark. It's not what to say. It is very bright and vibrant. Yeah, it has some dark shades to it. It is not completely bright,
I
but
mean, now you're talking about dark. I feel like I should have done a dark mode also.
yeah, your UI was insane, right? Just after looking at your UI for this topic, right, I just went into that, what to say, that enjoyment mode. Like, so just, yes, as soon as you open the tab, right, so it's like you enter into that mode. So your UI was
Yeah,
so energetic. So I just was really inspired by it. But it turned out like this. So people would be really interested in seeing your UI as well, Ganesh. So we can have a look at your UI and we can speak about it.
yeah. I'll just share my screen as well.
Yeah, sure.
Hope you see my screen.
Yeah, Ganesh, it's
Yeah,
visible.
so my UI, what I went with, like Arvind what he has done, I wanted to show the album cover. I mean, and I chose this especially, and I've given this kind of a dark tint here, like what do you say, the gradient here, up and down, just so that when I let it be a light image or a dark image, I'm going to use the same color. I didn't want to use multiple colors, and I use the same font everywhere. I just played around with the weight of the font, but not with the font itself, right? And here mine is more of a light theme, so I had a instead of having a button with a border, I had a button with a shadow with this color, right? So that made it more elevated and gave more depth. And I like this theme, owing to the color scheme. I think we can change the color according to what the user wants. And I actually put each and every one of this line on my own. I just copy pasted so many times. It took quite a bit of time, but yeah, it was worth it, is what I would say. And here I have the basic. What you have: the play, pause, forward, the next track, previous track, repeat, shuffle, and all that. And I wanted the UI to look simple so that it's easier for them to understand. I didn't want to have any complications or anything like that. And for this UI, I especially went because I wanted to give that party all night. I mean, there's not even, I don't even think this is a song. But I just went with TDM instead of EDM. And I just wanted people, when they see the UI, I want them to feel energetic, right? Music can make energetic, make them feel happy, sad, anything you want. So all of this, and this button I added so that if you click on this button, this is what would show up. And yeah, this was my UI, and I also wanted a user to be here, so you know, so the user will get Rise and Shine, some playlist, and training an artist, and all of this. So yeah, this is about my UI. It's more about, I just want to be able to use the app, man, than just the aesthetics. Aesthetics have to be good for me, but I would prefer usability over aesthetics. That's what I go for usually.
Yeah, this UI was really very interesting. So actually, I really liked your background for this. So this album art, right? It's really very nice. So it actually, what to say? It is. It's really good. It suits well, I can say. So it brings together the whole aesthetic of the entire UI in just one picture. So if I went to bluntly put it, and I really like your profile picture. So your profile picture really interests me a lot. You use those
Yeah, that was one of the previous profile pictures also was the same, right? I
same
mean the
thing.
profile UI. Yeah.
Profile picture is really nice. I really enjoy them a lot. Yeah, so you can see, guys. So he has went for a completely contrast approach to mine. So he has used a white background, which is in complete contrast to mine. I've went for a dark theme based one. So it's how our UIs change. So the topic is the same, but we have taken two completely contrast approaches. So you have processed it in a head in a different way and have done it in a completely different way. So it's what makes UI creation and art in general a very interesting thing to work on, I can say. So yeah, I'm really very happy about my UI, and I really like your UI because your UI also inspired me actually, because we inherently get inspired by other people's thought process, their UI, their work also. So actually I really went through a lot of UIs, not much. I just went through a few, like three or four, and yours was one among it, and it really did inspire me. So I incorporated a lot of ideas from it. I added my own ideas, so I made stuff better. I added stuff, I removed stuff. So it is how we create art, right? UIs or anything. So I'm really happy that it turned out well, and it is aesthetically good. Plus, it has some functional elements as well. So we just can't be completely overwhelmed by the aesthetic appeal and forget the functional aspect of it. So we shouldn't do that as well. So we need to strike a right balance. And I hope your UI, I really enjoyed. So actually, I'm really very interested to ask you this question. So you create a UI, right, Ganesh? So from where do you draw your inspiration from? So most of inspiration comes from where? Like, how do you think about it initially? So I give you a topic.
Basic.
So how does it go about?
First, I'll research. My main thing is research, man. I mean, that's what I do because I stream. I mean, before I had more time, I feel like my creativity or my UI level has gone down a bit. I'll be honest with you. I'm not giving my 100% because if I have to do some UI in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I cannot do so many iterations, right? I cannot do these many iterations. I mean, I lose a little of originality somewhere here and there because I take a lot of inspiration. So now if I have to do a 15, I do a daily stream, as you know. So 15 to 20 minute stream, if I have to complete in 30 minutes, which I should have 15 minutes before. This UI I would have taken around 1 hour, 1.5 hours. So trying out, I would see two different screens. So if there's one person on Dribble and one person on Daily UI, there's that website, right? dailyui.co. So if I have example you and me, so I see my design first. Well, I want one screen to be like this, the other screen to be like this, right? So what I do is I first take inspiration from you based on that screen. I add my own texture. I change the colors, change the images, I change the placement, right? And I make sure that it's way better than what you've done. And if I take my UI, so the second screen would be like my UI. So I take two, three different screens and combine it because this screen might be better with this person, this screen might be better. So it's a lot of research is it's what I would say. And other than that, I could do I the thing is if I do not do the daily streams, then I think my designs would improve even more. But doing daily UI, my speed has increased.
Okay,
That's one thing. So I mean, a guy who should have 1 day for a UI who can do in 15 20 minutes now, I mean, that's a great improvement, right? And I don't
that's true.
even if I'm seeing the inspiration, I'll not be seeing the design. I would just remember morning around 8:30, 9 o'clock after this call, usually after our daily discussion of the design thinking, I will look at the UI, right? Post that is when I'll see the UI. And then again, I will be doing the UI in night 8. So there's a lot of time. So I would have forgotten a few elements, so that's why I'll try to add my own element. But then
Okay,
I'll be able to do it. So and morning I'll also see your design. Like, oh, this guy is made better than mine. So I'll be thinking, oh, I should do better than Arvind, the design. So that's how it goes, every day. So more than inspiration, it's more about research. That's what I'd
research.
say. Inspiration is just inspiration from colors is what I'd say. I take inspiration. And design, the structure is almost same, right? You cannot change the calendar, man. How much ever you change the calendar, end of the day, I prefer. for me personally, I feel I always like my calendar the way it is. The structure. You have days, months, years, right? So in the month, I'd like to see Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. All of that under the dates. That's what I prefer.
Okay.
Even though whatever they've upgraded, the best thing they've done is they've kept it the same way. I like the way that in Google you have the time schedules, right? You just go below, you see the time according to this time, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. Do you have any meeting? That's fine. But I always prefer open the day by just just click on the calendar and I just go calendar.google.com. All my meetings, everything would have been synced there.
Yeah,
So
correct.
I prefer that, and I always get a message like 30 minutes before reminder. You have a meeting at this time. So today I have around four meetings, five meetings, right? So even in office, by chance, I have a call. So I can ask them, I can request that at this time, can I be let go? Can I take a break? I'll take a break at that time. I wouldn't take a break maybe even for lunch. So I'll take one short break at 3 o'clock if I have some other meeting, right? Some other UI thing I have to do. So that's how I do it. And the UI, my UI is inspired by daily things, and how I my concept is why should you experience why it should be hard for a user to do something, right? It should be easy. You should be lazy when you're using anything I create. For that, I
That is
need to
very
make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, it has to be as intuitive as possible, and the ease of use has to be taken into consideration as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to ask you this question because it was a very important question, I think, because it's the primary thing, right? So yeah, so because every day we're provided a topic, and so this so the first thing what we do to start off a UI is a very important process. So because it starts from there, right? So if you start something right, you can add something, remove something. But if you're stuck in the very initial stage or the first stage, it becomes really difficult. So you just see a topic and you think that, okay, so it's very difficult or it's very simple that I can't do it. So the entire UI process might be at stake. So that initial step is very crucial. So yeah, so I'm really happy that you explained it in a very easy to understand fashion, Ganesh.
But Arvind, I want to ask, what is your inspiration?
My inspiration. I really don't do as much as research as you do because I'm practically very lazy. I hardly see more, not more than 3 to 4 designs, even that not fully. Actually, I just skim through them and I just do whatever comes to my mind, actually, seriously. I just try it out. If it turns out well, it's good. Uh, Otherwise, I just scrap the entire thing. I do it from beginning. I just add, remove, those stuff. So finally, if I'm happy with what I've created, I post it. If it's not really that good enough, I really will do it from beginning. So actually, uh, how I think about it is, I really don't. Yeah, so I really don't mind spending much time because I really don't feel like I'm spending time, right? So because if I start to do something, right, so time just passes away and I really don't feel it. I just do it like that. So I try to do some research, make everything pre-planned, and then start. So it would save me a lot of time, and it's the way to go about actually, guys. So because if you have time constraints, right, it's a very important thing to do. So you can pre-plan stuff and do it. But I've been doing this for the past 5 6 8 years, like, so I do it like this. I just have my mind blank. It's an open canvas. I go there, I just think of something, I take inspiration from nowhere, I start, I do, and I post it. So this is how I do it mostly. I take inspiration. So it's not like I take inspiration, I inherently take inspiration. So it's because I've seen a lot of UI. So it just happens, and I tend to use some designs which I've already seen. But just because I'm lazy, I don't do much research, and I start off without pre-planning. So that is how I go about. So it's because of that some of my UIs, though they look good, are not functional seriously. So you can say that, but yeah, it differs from person to person. So it is how I go about. It's completely in contrast to what you told. Seriously, so it is the main purpose, right? So I think like this, and I really want to change, and I want to incorporate all the things that you told. But as of now, this is how I do stuff. In future, I will change it because it really improve me a lot and it'll save time, right? So it's important point to note.
I mean, once you start to go for a walk, or once you start being a day-to-day UX designer, speed is very important, I'd say. So a client says you want it quicker. So I would say that You can't help it, but you have to do it to become it. Like the client wants it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Is what
Yeah, so I would have to learn that. It would take some time, but I think it's the way to go. So sometimes I create UIs in 10 minutes. It's an actually, see, my approach, right? It has both positive and negative sides. It might take hours together, or it'll just take a few minutes. So sometimes, right? So it's what happens if you scribble. Like if you scribble, sometimes you might end up having a really excellent portrait, or sometimes it might just become a mess. So sometimes I create UIs in 10 minutes, sometimes it takes hours together. So it's very important to plan stuff.
I mean, it depends on the topic also, right? So if
And
there's something like a different topic which can involve more element. Now, I mean, you go for a calendar or calculator. How much time will it take?
yeah,
So
that is,
there's nothing new. You can make something new, but another you have to reach the same point. You have to reach the same calendar, same place. So that is also there. Is what I would say.
yeah, that is a very important point to note. Yeah, guys. So I hope you guys would have really enjoyed our conversation today. I really asked you a very important question, Ganesh, and even you asked the same question to me back. So, which was a very important point, I would say, because it is very important to speak about this because everyone, right, have their thought process in a completely unique way. And yeah, guys. So I hope you liked my UI design for today, and yeah, so if you had learned something from it, it's really it would make me happy, so you can drop that down below. And it's a wrap for today, Ganesh. So I hope you really enjoyed our conversation. We would meet tomorrow at
Yes, yes,
right.
yes, sir. I'm sure it was amazing. Always amazing to have a conversation with you. Yeah, sounds
Yeah,
good.
Ganesh. Thank you. Yeah, guys, bye. So